Imagine a quiet Sunday afternoon. You're washing your car, the kids are playing in the yard. Suddenly, a massive explosion rips through the neighborhood. This wasn't a gas leak, it was a car bomb. Welcome to Quebec in the 1990s, the battleground for one of the most violent turf wars in North American history, the Quebec Biker War. It all began in 1994, but the seeds were planted long before. The Hells Angels, a notorious international motorcycle club, wanted complete control of Quebec's lucrative drug trade. Standing in their way was a coalition of local gangs known as the Rock Machine. The Hells Angels gave them an ultimatum: join us or be eliminated. The Rock Machine chose to fight. What followed was nearly a decade of unrelenting terror that turned the streets of Montreal and beyond into a war zone. This wasn't just gang members fighting each other in dark alleys. This was a war fought in broad daylight, in public spaces, with a terrifying disregard for civilian life. The weapon of choice: often car bombs. They were planted outside rival clubhouses, under the cars of gang members, and sometimes, tragically, they were in the wrong place at the right time. Over the course of the war, more than 160 people were killed, including innocent bystanders. Hundreds more were injured. One of the most horrifying moments came in August 1995. A remote-controlled bomb hidden in a Jeep exploded in the Hochelaga-Maisonneuve neighborhood of Montreal. The target was a known drug dealer, but the blast was indiscriminate. It killed 11-year-old Daniel DeRochers, who was playing in a nearby schoolyard. Daniel's death was a turning point. It shocked the nation and galvanized public outrage. The people of Quebec realized this wasn't just about criminals killing criminals. It was a war that had spilled onto their doorsteps and was claiming the lives of their children. The leader of the Hells Angels in Quebec was a man named Maurice "Mom" Boucher. He was charismatic, ruthless, and brilliant in a chillingly strategic way. Boucher orchestrated the war from his fortified bunker-like headquarters. He wasn't just a gang leader, he was a paramilitary commander. He created a specialized hit squad called the Nomads, an elite chapter of the Hells Angels responsible for carrying out the most high-stakes assassinations and bombings. These weren't just tough guys on bikes, they were trained killers. The war escalated. Biker clubhouses became fortresses, surrounded by concrete barriers and surveillance cameras. Firefights erupted in residential streets. Hitmen ambushed targets at traffic lights. The violence was audacious. In one infamous incident, Boucher ordered the murder of 2 prison guards, Diane Levine and Pierre Rondeau. In 1997, his goal was to destabilize the justice system, to show that no one was safe, not even the people meant to keep them locked up. It was a direct challenge to the authority of the state. The police were in a desperate struggle to keep up. They were dealing with a level of organized violence they had never seen before. Witnesses were too terrified to talk. The bikers' code of silence, the omerta, was brutally enforced. Informants who dared to break it often paid with their lives. Their bodies left as a gruesome warning to others. The legal system was struggling too. It was difficult to prove that leaders like Boucher, who rarely got their own hands dirty, were the ones pulling the strings. In response to the public outcry after Daniel DeRochers' death and the murder of the prison guards, the Canadian government passed tough, new anti-gang legislation. Bill C-95 made it a criminal offense to participate in the activities of a criminal organization. This gave police new powers to arrest and prosecute gang members, not just for individual crimes, but for being part of the gang itself. The turning point for law enforcement came with Operation Springtime, 2001. It was a massive, coordinated police raid, the largest in Canadian history at the time. Over 2,000 officers simultaneously arrested dozens of Hells Angels members and their associates, including the seemingly untouchable Maurice Boucher. The key to the operation's success was the testimony of a high-ranking biker who turned informant. He provided an insider's view, linking Boucher and his lieutenants directly to the murders and bombings. The trial that followed was a landmark case. Maurice Boucher was eventually convicted for ordering the murders of the 2 prison guards and sentenced to life in prison. He died in prison in 2022. The convictions from Operation Springtime effectively broke the back of the Hells Angels. Nomad's chapter and brought the open warfare to an end. The rock machine, battered and worn down, eventually patched over to the Hells Angels in the early 2000s, ceding control of the drug trade. So, who won? In a way, the Hells Angels did. They achieved their goal of dominating the drug market in Quebec, but the cost was immense. The war left a deep scar on the province. It exposed the terrifying power of organized crime and the vulnerability of ordinary citizens. It cost hundreds of lives, traumatized communities, and forced a complete overhaul of the Canadian legal system's approach to organized crime. Today, the streets of Montreal are quiet again. The car bombs and public shootouts are a memory. But the Quebec Biker War serves as a chilling reminder of what can happen when organized crime decides to go to war. It's a story of greed, power, and extreme violence. A dark chapter that showed how quickly the peace of a society can be shattered. It's a reminder that beneath the surface of our daily lives, battles for power can rage with devastating consequences. Thank you for watching. If you found this look into a dark part of history interesting, please like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into true crime stories. Stay safe out there.